Hi.
Wow. Are we live?
Hello, my dear wife.
Hi.
Let's wait for
My hair
somebody to
thing's
show
all
up. Oh, I
dorky.
like your hair thing. Going with the gold.
I think I look dorky tonight, but oh well.
No,
Yeah, it's a dorky kind of day.
it's a good day. There was a lady. She went missing. We're going to talk about.
Her mysterious case. We'll talk a little bit about David, D4VD, and some weird things in the timeline of the case where Celeste Rivas Hernandez, the 14-year-old child, turned up deceased in the front trunk of his Tesla, while a few things that happened in that case are now looking rather,
Hello,
I mean,
Rainbow
already looks,
Ramblings.
and oh yes, and we're going to be
We're going to be.
starting off
Well,
with talking about,
let's do the berry thing later on after we do our other.
okay, after we let a few more
After we
people
do
in
Brittany
there.
Gard.
But yeah, Rainbow Ramblings has brought something to our attention that we're going to discuss about the Barry Morphew case. But we'll talk about Brittany Gard first. She's a woman from uh, Indiana, Barry Morphew's and Suzanne Morphew's home state. We'll also talk a bit about David, and I guess I'll start with David first, and then go into Brittany, because David isn't that much of a news update per se. It's just that I had mentioned earlier that his parents' house in Texas got swatted the day that Celeste Rivas Hernandez's body was identified as being who the remains were that were found in the front trunk of David's Tesla outside his Hollywood Hills home, well, parked around the corner from his Hollywood Hills home.
I found out that swatting somebody is a felony.
Yeah.
And it's a federal offense if you do it across state lines.
Yeah, so I'm very interested as to whether the person that did swat David's parents, whether they were in fact out of state at the time, because it was noted in the body cam footage that the phone number that swatted that home was not a Texas phone number.
Someone's in big trouble for that.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll do a quick summary of what was going on
What is a swatting?
in David's case. Oh, and first off, what a swatting is when someone makes a false report to law enforcement to get an armed, basically, response to a residence, which is likely to result in great distress to the homeowners. Sometimes people even get their doors busted in, and depending on the reaction of the person inside, people can get hurt. People could even get killed in these swatting incidences. Anyway, timeline of events are that the car, the Tesla, that had Celeste Rivas Hernandez inside of it had been parked over in the location where it eventually got towed from, since even before David left town for his concert series tour, whatever you want to call it. Anyhow, it had been there since before David left town, so it's possible that she was already in the trunk before he left town. But it wasn't until September 18th that it was made known that the remains that were in that vehicle were Celeste's. And mysteriously, on September 18th, there was a swatting event at the home where David's parents lived in Texas. And then it turned out that, that home, for one thing, mysterious coincidence that this is the same day that Celeste, the 14-year-old child, is identified as the remains that are found in David's car. Then someone calls in an emergency to the property where David's parents live, stating that there was a female screaming and they believe there's a deceased female on the premises, and that they heard gunshots and stuff. So the police showed up there. David's parents were very alarmed, very shocked, shut the door, called 911 themselves, then came back out, answered the door. Were talking with the law enforcement that arrived as they got down to the bottom of it and realized that the phone number that called was an out-of-state phone number, but the number was pinging as being located on the property where they were. And then I've got a cat stuck to me, don't I?
Yes.
And then the 911 call has been made public.
Kitty.
She's being rambunctious. She's a little old lady too. You wouldn't expect her to be so rambunctious. Anyway, the caller was obviously trying to disguise their voice. I believe it was a male, but you can't be 100% on that when somebody's disguising their voice. But obviously someone going to effort to disguise their voice as they made this call. So it's done the same day that Celeste is identified as being the remains in the car, and this is like over a week after it's been reported that human remains were found in the trunk of David's Tesla. Then it turns out September 18th also just so happens to be the day that that property that David's parents were living in, that's the day he signed over that property to them. It had originally been in David's name only, and he signed it over to his parents on the 18th, as well as a second property in Texas. So, some mysterious shifting around of assets and stuff at a very suspicious time. And he is also now hired an attorney to the stars, which I guess is not surprising considering that his underage girlfriend was found deceased in the trunk of his car. But you know, even if he didn't have anything to do with what happened to her in the end, he was contributing to the delinquency of a minor at the very least. And I'm sure he's got some charges waiting
These
for
are
him.
pretty big charges as well.
Yeah.
Not as big as murder, but
Yeah, not as big as murder, but definitely something. And so it's probably not surprising that he's getting assets out of his name, putting them into other family members' names, and also that was the Brittany Gard notes.
those are my notes.
Okay. Anyway,
I'll give them back in a minute.
so that's what was going on with and thank you. I love the scarves too, and they make me happy. They're bright colors and stuff, and they're silky. I guess they're actually satin scarves though. But anyway, then besides what's going on in the David case, that which has some strange coincidences going on in it. Then there was this case out of Indiana.
Is it
which,
Waterbury?
That's Waterbury, Connecticut. We're talking about Brittany Gard now. We talked about Waterbury, Connecticut last
night's show.
Yeah. Tonight's show is...
It was Bainbridge.
Yeah. Brittany Gard, a mom of two. She has a 25-year-old son and a 13-year-old daughter in Bainbridge, Indiana, was reported missing on October 1st after a fire suspiciously started in her home. And when authorities were searching the home, there was no sign of her. Her vehicle was in the driveway, her purse was in the house, but no sign of her. And at the time, it was reported that she was expected to have shown up at her 13-year-old daughter's volleyball game, that her daughter had been over at her dad's house, but the mom was supposed to show up at the volleyball game and never did. And that was unusual behavior. And what also was unusual, once looking in, was for her to be, well, for one thing, for her house to catch on fire, and for another, for her to be gone, but her car to still be there, her purse and identification, everything's still there, and Apparently, there was an iPad located in the home that appeared to be wiped of any information, but it's unclear whether that iPad had belonged to her or to one of her kids. And then also, there's conflicting information where at first law enforcement reported that her phone had also been left behind on the kitchen counter or something, but then it turns out that her phone was not left at the residence, that her phone was actually with her. Her phone had been turned off for 8 days, and then on the 8th day at night, when it's like 40 something degrees out in the forest, where she was cold and damp and disoriented, she turned her phone back on and called 911, which immediately also, besides reaching the 911 services, also her family, including her siblings, all had notifications set on their phone so that if her phone ever switched on and called 911, or if it ever called 911, that they would be alerted also that there had been an emergency called in from her phone.
Bainbridge is surrounded by cornfields that they searched row by row.
Yeah, so there was adjacent to her home was a 75-acre cornfield, and then on the other side of the cornfield there is some forest, but then it turns out it's a wilderness area forest where she was actually located. And she was picked up from there and taken to the hospital where her family was able to reunite with her. And everyone's being close-lipped about what's going on with her because, who knows whether... I mean, they're saying that there's no boogeyman out there for other people to be worried about, but they're not saying whether she was abducted or she walked off on her own, or if she had gotten lost, or if she was suffering some kind of medical emergency or a mental health crisis or anything. And still no word on how the fire started or who started the fire even. And she was kept for over 24 hours in the hospital too, which is a bit much for just being checked out after being out in the elements or something. So there's probably something going on with her.
Dude, where do you think she was for 8 days with no blankets or winter wear? Or where was she, dude?
And and it's unclear whether she had spent the entire 8 days in that wilderness area, but they're also saying that it's not very likely that she was there the entire 8 days because the size of the area, and it's only 2.5 miles from her home, that if she had walked in any one direction from there, she would have walked to the edge of the wilderness and ended up back in civilization. Plus, there are paths, and it's a popular walking or strolling ground for people too.
She has had to be there before.
And and it's likely that in the small town and all that it's likely that she has been there in the past. And so it's a bit of a mystery, and I'm interested in any theories any of you might have. I did see that it's like a toss-up amongst the experts as to just how much information, if any, should be released on this, because if this is like some sort of mental health crisis or a health crisis, or early onset dementia or anything like that, she deserves her privacy. And also, though, if this was something nefarious that happened to her, even if the suspect is known or whatever, or even if they think that the suspect isn't likely to do the same to anyone else, it would be in the public's best interest to know what happened to her if this was not of her own accord.
Definitely. She could have taken off with somebody and stayed warm.
Yeah, and
8 days seems like an awfully long time to
be
lost out in the woods.
Or to even be with someone without alerting anybody if you had your phone with you. She had her phone with her, but it was turned off for 8 days. And during that 8 days, there was a county-wide search for her. There were public appeals on the internet. It was covered on YouTube channels. It was covered on news stations. It was covered on Facebook, and everybody was praying for this one. And luckily, it did have a happy ending. She is alive and she is safe now, but it's really kind of scary.
Is she safe now?
Yeah, is she?
What do you guys think happened? She just went walkabout, went gone girl.
What do you think?
Anybody? Thoughts?
And Journey mentions they are saying that she was not lost in the woods. Something is wrong, and
But if she just wanted to disappear, would the house catch on fire?
And then if she just wanted to disappear, why set the house on fire? And did she set the house on fire? Did somebody else set the house on fire? Or was the house fire an accident?
Is she going to be charged with arson? I mean,
and if she wanted to disappear, why not take her purse or her vehicle as well, instead of just ending up 2.5 miles from her house in the local woods?
I'm betting she would have got real cold out there this time of year.
And they say that she was very disheveled and disoriented when she was found. And so it's just interesting.
Maybe she was low on sleep?
She could have been low on sleep. She could have been having some kind of mental health crisis, or like if she had, I don't know if she's diabetic, and if maybe insulin was an issue or anything like that either. And there's just so many different things that could have happened here that I'm just really curious, and I know it's probably none of my business, but I would like to know what happened.
Oh yeah, someone's gotta come forward. It's really weird.
And then we will jump into the Barry Morphew thing now, and then we'll probably hop around to other topics, but I'm kind of antsy about this one. This is one that was brought to us by Rainbow Ramblings, and she's got the information posted over on her community as well. And Rainbow, if you're still here, do you want to post in here what you found out? And Susan says, if she had just got disoriented, she would have walked out to the road. Wonder if she was kidnapped, drugged, and then dumped, which is a possibility too.
Dude, that is serious possibility.
And I'm wondering if Rainbow's still in here or not. Can you see if that is just not scrolling, or?
Rainbow's here. She was here a minute ago. Your turn, Rainbow Ramblings. See?
Okay, Rainbow. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Anyway,
that's a weird thing to say.
Rainbow discovered something and then was able to go get the rest of the information. She has all the documentation on this, and it is on page 7 of the witness list for the Barry Morphew case. There was something that I totally didn't go and research because I was a dum-dum and just made assumptions. There is a person listed on page 7 who's listed as Christina Ormsby, and it says Colorado Department of Corrections, La Vista Correctional Facility, and then the address of that facility. And I assumed that this was a law enforcement personnel or something, some sort of expert. Well, it may be some sort of expert, but it is not a law enforcement employee. And I don't want to take Rainbow's thunder from her if
let's just wait for her to show up. She'll be back, I'm sure. Jump right in there, Rainbow.
It's your turn to talk about Barry Morphew and his witness list.
And while we wait a couple of minutes on that one, what do you think about how everybody's like going nuts about the pun
Hi, Rainbow.
about Diddy requesting that he do time at Fort Dix.
He was making a joke, was he not?
No, he's not making a joke, but it makes a good joke.
Puff.
Hey, Rainbow.
Puff Daddy.
Rainbow is there.
Read the article then.
Okay. Do we have the article pulled up? I'll have to paraphrase if you don't have it pulled up.
No, I don't have it pulled up.
Okay. What Rainbow discovered is that there is also an article in the Ark Valley Voice also about this person. It turns out that Christina Ormsby was arrested in Salida in 2023 for. Do you have your notes? I did write down notes
I do
after
have my
I read
notes.
her.
I do
her
have my
post.
notes. Yes, I do.
Turn to the page.
Here.
Yes, I have very brief notes, but they're just kind of like an outline telling. Okay.
This person's a bad guy.
She was charged with human trafficking, being a drug dealer, and corruption of a minor. She was using underage people in Chaffee County as drug mules and who knows what all else. And she was convicted, and she is now doing time at this facility in Pueblo. Now I lost the page again. I am so not organized tonight, guys. Department of Corrections, the La Vista Correctional Facility, which is a female facility, and kind of specializes in people that are on various types of drug convictions and other like serious charges. And she's doing her time there in Pueblo, and her DOC number is 200658. She is 35 years old, a Caucasian female. And anybody want to speculate as to how come she is a witness in this?
Who is she a witness for?
The witness list has been produced by the prosecution. The people of the state of Colorado versus Barry Morphew defendant, and it was submitted by Ann Kelly, the district attorney. And so these are witnesses for the prosecution, witnesses that the prosecution is pulling forward, and obviously some of the witnesses are people that are on there but aren't there because they want to help the prosecution at all. Macy and Mallory Morphew and Barry's mom, some that I would guess are probably not willingly going to testify against Barry, but it's their duty. If they're called, they have to testify. That might even be called hostile witnesses, but they are supposed to be testifying as well. Anyway, what do you think about that Christina Ormsby person, the charges that she carries? And
Rainbow, you can post that news article in the comments section if you'd like.
Yeah.
We only have the one device right now.
Yeah, right now we only have one phone, and so we can't. And as soon as I get our Skynet going on, is that what the Elon Musk net is called? We've been researching and discovering that that's the best one if you're RVing and stuff and you need one to take around with you. We will get that going on, and then we'll be able to have more than one device online at a time.
I know we spent a few minutes reading that after she messaged us earlier.
Oh yeah, we read it. And Rainbow says, 1 sec. And anyway, it is just awesome that Rainbow went and was able to go get that, because like I said, I totally missed it. I saw that name. I saw the Department of Corrections, assumed it was a correctional officer or something. Did not, for the life of me, think that it was an inmate, a female inmate at that, and someone who had been arrested for crimes in Chaffee County.
Distribution? We'll wait till it gets posted up here. She was arrested for distribution, was she not? Or manufacturer?
And Susan says, I wonder if she was Barry's dealer, and I wonder that too, and I wonder whether, remember one of the searches from the original preliminary hearing for Barry. The prosecution was talking about the phone dumps and the things that they had gotten out of his phone, and how some of the stuff that he was looking for was young females in Salida and stuff like that. And I wonder if any of them were the young females that this person was trafficking. So so could have been providing either drugs to Barry, could have been providing female companionship, underage female companionship, could have insight into Barry that we hadn't even, that we had only glossed over, thought about it, we'd heard the rumors, that kind of thing, and then just, not seeing anything in black and white, not seeing something in the documents, and then something's in the documents.
Something was hiding in there.
Something was hiding in there, and Rainbow found it.
Well, it's not enslaving. It was another one.
Trafficking.
And
Oh, yeah.
word?
There was another word.
I was sitting here racking my brain, kind of.
Yeah. So looks like everybody's thoughts about and Penny says too, that's what I thought of these disgusting searches. And Rainbow says she put the link in. I wonder if we can
No, we can't link.
can we switch tabs maybe, and so we can
No,
read it?
it'll go bye bye if I switch tabs. You just copy and paste the article. Yeah, just
Can you copy and paste the article that you had over in your on your post on your channel, or could everybody go look at her channel real quick?
no. We need to talk about it
send
here.
it-
Go ahead and post it up here.
Anyway, it's just thank you, Rainbow. Yeah, we're having technical difficulties.
YouTube won't let us link.
We had some weird technical difficulties also, by the way. We're a little bit technically challenged ourselves, and then this
a little bit. That's an understatement.
yeah, and then this phone did an update today, and then it needed another update, and then another update, and then I guess YouTube updated too, and it was just
Something
nightmare
was
after nightmare.
different today.
And then it's just
So if you saw us go live for a moment and then not, that's what happened.
I wonder if we can post her link, or
No, we can't link off the channel.
bro.
Here, bring phone for a
I was
minute.
wondering if he was going to let us use his phone to look.
We do have another phone.
He walked by with purpose. Hopefully he'll bring a phone so we can go look at what she's got.
We'll get that.
Oh, is that what it is? Somebody else says only mods can link, but it doesn't work on the phone format. Silly platform.
Maybe we can get a StreamYard or something in here for the mobile.
Yeah, I see. It downgrades the reach if you link outside of YouTube. Okay, let's see what we can.
Young.
What you want?
We want to use your phone to go look at Rainbow Ramblings community post so that we could read her post to the
Yeah, we'll try StreamYard for Android.
yeah, we're gonna try to do that because right now we're just directly using
Hi,
the
North Korea,
YouTube
welcome.
app, and it's like that. Okay. Okay, flip it over and then post, And
The second one down.
there we go.
My license.
Sorry it took so long.
Okay,
Bear
I'm
with us a
reading her
moment.
post now, and it says, shocking witness in Barry Morphew's upcoming murder trial. A human trafficker, drug dealer, and corrupter of minor children. She's presently an inmate at La Vista Correctional Facility in Pueblo, Colorado. And then there's a link to the witness list saying see page 7 of the witness list, and that's where you see the name. And then here's a newspaper article about her arrest. Over the past 3 months, the Chaffee County Sheriff's Office, along with the Salida Police Department, has conducted an investigation into a Salida woman who was suspected of using underage individuals for illicit felonious activities. Along with these acts, it was also learned that the suspect was selling and or providing illegal narcotics to minors in the Chaffee County area. This investigation culminated Tuesday, November 21st, 2023, when detectives arrested Christina Jean Ormsby /Howard, age 33, of Salida, and booked her into the Chaffee County Detention Facility. Ormsby was charged with the following: human trafficking of a minor for involuntary servitude, Class 2 felony, 2 counts; unlawful distribution, manufacturing, or sale of a controlled substance to a minor, Class 1 drug felony, 7 counts; contributing to the delinquency of a minor, Class 4 felony, 2 counts. She's being held, or at that time she was being held on a $25,000 cash-only bond. And according to the Sheriff's Department, this is a continuing investigation, so no further details are available. And that was from the Ark Valley Voice. And like I said, that was in 2023 before she was convicted, and now she is doing time. So
Does this one link off and go for more goodies?
Yeah.
It links to a.
Flip it around. Let us read
Ark
that
Valley
one too.
Voice?
there
That's
more?
just the same as what we already read.
Oh, okay. And now he takes his phone back. Ah,
Can't separate a young man from his device.
No.
yeah, we can't separate
Thank
a
you
young
for
man
stopping
from
by
his
and
voice.
helping out with
But
the
thank you.
stream.
Anyway,
That was another member of our.
yeah, that was Jay, the guy that plays guitar on here at the end of the episodes and stuff like that, and he contributes a lot. He used to be our minor child that would be dragged along on our expeditions with us, and now that he is an adult, he voluntarily tags along with us.
We talk about crimes from around the world, actually.
Yeah, and
UK. Where else we so see?
yeah, and we talk about Ed Gein, because that took place in Wisconsin, and we actually got to be in the area one time. We were actually passing through that area of Wisconsin when it came on a rock station that there was going to be a free concert in a cornfield, where we got to see Jackal, and I forgot who all opened for them, but
Tough was on that show too. Remember?
oh yeah, Tough and Jackal.
All
And
hair bands from the 80s.
hair bands from the 80s, and we went there, and and we got really creeped out when we were in Ed Gein's hometown and stuff, and it just had this feel, so we were really curious about the place, going, why is this place creepy?
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
And then we found out more, and we had heard of him before and stuff, but hadn't realized the full extent of his notoriety, or even all the different movies that were monsters, ghouls that were actually inspired or based on him. And it was just, oh my gosh, this was a real person that was really this sick. It wasn't just, some Hollywood imagination. This guy even was grosser than I ever could have imagined, and it was just like, what the? And so yeah, we get fascinated by the macabre. And so yeah, I talk murder with my husband, and actually murder with my kids too, because they're both adults. My daughter has been on here before, and she's probably going to be on here again sometime. There's a time difference from where she is right now, so we're trying to work out the logistics, but she's planning on doing a call in with us also,
And that'll
and
be
and she was going by the handle of Little Julez when she used to be, you know, on the channel here, but you know, she might use her own channel name or something, so we don't know exactly what. And yeah, that's one of the things that I was trying to research. So if anybody has any information on whether StreamYard or Streamlab is better for using on the phone and for doing the streams and stuff, let me know. I haven't ever used the Streamlab before, but I've heard and seen good things about it on other people's streams. I used to use StreamYard, but that was back when I was using a whole, you know, desktop computer setup and all that stuff.
It's all based off
And-
OBS.
And now, you know, we're, you know, smaller, more mobile setup.
Yeah, we'll get set up. Probably in a few more months, we'll have a
Whole mobile studio going back on.
At this
Yeah.
point, we're just doing lives. We're looking for 10,000 subscribers. If you guys could hit that subscribe button, that would be awesome.
I think something magic happens at 10,000 subs.
Yeah, I think maybe you get more reach that way and stuff, and your channel gets pumped out there more. And I got so jealous. Oh my gosh! Just saw
my.
this guy get his silver play button. He's not a true crimer guy or anything, but he was doing this hack with what was it again? Coke and pickle juice.
Pickle juice and Pepsi?
Or
Pickle
Pepsi?
juice and Coke.
But anyway, he did this hack on you know, at home, and you know, at his own home, you know, telling how much it cost at the fast food place that was selling it, and then he made it there and drank it himself, and then, you know, bam, he's got a silver play button now, and I'm just like, what?
We've been working on this channel
Channel
for.
for 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah, it was like, what?
But we take
Oh.
a lot of time off, though, to be honest.
We used to take a lot of time off.
Not anymore.
No.
Now we're out here
Now-
every
now
night
it's
hitting
a-
it and begging for subscribers.
Now it's a daily thing, and it's a lot better doing it this way with him with me and with the kids when they show up and stuff like that, instead of just trying to flounder out there on my own. I have a lot more confidence when I have somebody at my side than I do when I'm just like staring like a deer in the headlights.
She's like,
Hi guys.
she's like, can you stand behind the camera or something so I can look at you?
Yeah.
Oh, silly.
Back before you know, before he agreed to sit next to me, I used to try to have him be behind the camera or something so I could see him, so I could feel like I was talking to somebody, instead of like just trying to look at the camera lens or whatever and be like, hey, I feel weird doing this. And I remember you know, just a while back, I saw one of my earliest ones where I'm like, my eyes are getting sore from staring at because I was trying to make eye contact and stuff like that. It was all really weird.
Who got their ankle monitor removed?
Oh.
Mary Collins.
America Deal removed her ankle monitor. Oh my God. That's horrible. Okay, you guys, I
We
brought...
were talking about that last night. Yeah.
We've been talking about this. No, this is a different case. This is the case that took place where Mary Collins was a person with developmental intellectual disabilities. She was a young adult, and she was living with her grandma, and she just had this kind soul, and she wanted to believe the best in everybody, and she tried to be friends with everybody in her, you know, in her reach or whatever, I guess. And there was this mean girl who was constantly heckling her, harassing her on Facebook, telling her to take her own life and stuff like that. And then one day, the mean girl said, you know what, you know, I want to be friends. And so Mary was overjoyed at the opportunity, and while her grandma thought better of it, she also knew that she needed to let Mary be an adult. And so they set the ground rules. Mary was going to check in and stuff like that, and what time Mary was going to come back. And Mary was going to go hang out with this woman and her boyfriend, the woman's boyfriend. And they were going to get Chinese dinner or something like that. And instead, when Mary Collins went over there, the couple tried to get her to have a threesome with them, and she objected. So then they drugged her, and they stripped her of her clothing and of her dignity. They put a dog collar on her and stuff. They brought in this other guy named James, and the three of them did terrible things to her, tortured her for a couple days straight, stabbed her over 133 times before she succumbed. And then when she did succumb, they were trying to clean up the mess, and this James guy called this woman, America Deal, who we just saw in the chat has now had her ankle monitor removed. America had met James on Tinder. They hardly knew each other, and yet when he gave her a call and said that he wanted her to help him clean up a crime scene, she jumped on it, and she bought cleaning supplies and everything, and she helped clean up the crime scene. And they wrapped Mary Collins up in plastic and trash bags and shoved her inside the mattress of the couple who originally invited her over to their apartment. She was inside their bed mattress for some period of time. The grandmother had alerted authorities, who refused to look for her, saying she was an adult even after the grandma was citing the
Shout
disabilities.
out to the grandma. She was
And the grandma was persistent. She was like, no, you know, this is not right. And it took a lot of persistence. Somebody called the police and said that Mary was actually promiscuous and disappeared all the time and stuff, and not to believe the grandma. And so instead of asking the grandma if this is true, or even checking in on it, or even, you know, questioning anybody about it, the police went and took that as gospel and just blew off the case until that Jimmy guy started talking a lot and showed people pictures of America, I mean, not of America, of Mary inside the mattress. And at first, people said, you know, she's in the mattress, and cops didn't really pay attention to exactly what was said. So when they went to the house and asked, the boyfriend of the mean girl was just gleeful as he lifted up the mattress and said, look, you know, she's not here. And so cops were like, oh, okay, and they left. But then the cops got the notice, look inside the mattress. So they went back with a warrant and everything, look inside
he was posting
the mattress.
about it.
Yeah, because he was posting about it. He was posting pictures of her inside the mattress. So anyway, cops finally look inside the mattress and found Mary. If they had listened to Grandma to begin with, they probably would have been able to rescue Mary before she was deceased, but no.
Over 130 stab wounds.
Because she had over 130 stab wounds, and she had been alive for at least 2 days before she succumbed to her injuries. So if they had listened, this could have been avoided. I'm sorry. Getting
Julez
worked up.
is getting over a cold. Remember, a couple of days back, she couldn't even stop coughing.
Yeah. So anyway, then the police did arrest the other three, and America was by that time over in Colorado, but found out about the arrest of the other three, and so she went and turned herself in, and then she was given house arrest over there, and she has not been following the rules of house arrest. She was supposed to wear an ankle monitor. She just kept letting the batteries go dead and stuff, and just was not complying with any of that, was not complying with curfews or any of the other stuff. And it was thought, because the prosecution was bringing this to a judge just last week and saying, her bail should be revoked. Instead of revoking her bail, they released her from the GPS.
Dude,
That's
that's not cool.
That's sick. Anyway, the original ringleader, Mean Girl, she took a plea deal for 25 to 32 years, and well, this was without consulting Mary Collins's grandma. This was without consulting her family at all. They just went ahead and did the plea deal, and Mary Collins's family feels that is not enough time. That is not justice. But what is really not justice is that it has now been 5 years, and the other 3 have not been tried yet.
I wonder why.
They have all the evidence they need. Why don't they bring charges on those guys?
They are claiming full dockets. They're claiming, we're trying to clear up other things. They're claiming, this and that with the trials, and
You guys maybe should write the freaking
Right to the courts.
and yeah,
Right to
they
the district attorney over there. And he wants some justice for this poor girl.
oh my
she
God.
could be out, Nate. That seems
No, it's correct that she probably would be out in 8 because of it being the 25 years, and then there's good behavior, and then there's
special little
like the
programs like
and then there's
Diddy's gonna get.
and the percent of time served. Then you're right. That's sick.
8 years
And
seems a bit light.
it is light. It is way too light, and it is sickening. And I get disheartened sometimes, guys, with just how effed up the system is, where innocent people that don't have the money to pay for the fancy attorneys and stuff, they end up doing time and stuff like that, and then guilty as sin people with lots of money throw money at the problem, and sometimes they don't even see any time in jail. And like Diddy, now he's like wanting to pick and choose his own programs, and he's petitioned Donald Trump, and
If he has the authority to talk to Donald Trump,
and birds of a feather, all that, as Donald Trump says, I call him Puff Daddy. So he might give him that, and
he might.
and as long as
Don't read
Life
that out loud. Read it to
and
yourself
James
first.
are the big roles in unaliving Mary in a court and get what's rightly due. Yes. Yeah. Lavi and James need to do some serious time, especially since I've been told that they were offered plea deals as well, that's the way it works in that state, where they offer everybody plea deals, and then if they don't take a plea deal, then it goes onto the docket and blah, 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 blah. And they didn't go take plea deals, and I think that since they've avoided trial this long, when they go to trial, they should get the
A
maximum.
15-year-old girl who was like innocent, who couldn't even get out and around the city by herself.
Yeah, Mary Collins was more like a 15-year-old. That was her developmental age, and it's just, it sickens me too when law enforcement, for example, a lot of times Children's Protective Services don't understand disability and have not been trained to understand that chronological age in some of these people with disabilities, chronological age is not an accurate
Totally.
meter for what they're dealing with.
We were talking about CPS and the little survivor guy last night. How they never went back and checked on him as well.
Yeah. Yeah, like the case I was talking about last night, Survivor. At the age of 3, his dad got full custody of him, his mother agreed to give his father full custody. She thought she was going to be able to visit him, and she thought that when she got on her feet that she would maybe even be able to get him back. But this guy married another woman who had 2 daughters, and he cut his son's mother out of their lives completely, eventually cut out all relatives of him. Nobody saw him after, nobody in the family ever saw him after he was like 12 years old. When he was 3 years old.
It was sushi. Mm-hmm.
Remember, it was sushi.
Yeah. When he was 3 years old, Survivor, it's his earliest memory, is that he could remember being terribly hungry and terribly thirsty and sneaking out of his room. That was the last time his room was ever unlocked at night. He snuck out of his room and went to the kitchen to get a drink and to grab some food, but he left food wrappers in his room, and so he was horribly punished and locked in at night from then on. And he said that as he got older, they would even deny him water to the point where he would have to drink out of the toilet because his room had a access to a bathroom.
Mm-hmm. He was probably drinking out of the back of the toilet.
Probably the back of the toilet,
Yeah, so-
but still, that's rough. And he said that when he went to school, he was always hungry, and then finally in the 4th grade, there was enough red flags that went up at the school because of him being caught trying to take other kids' food, trying to ask other kids for food, and taking food out of the trash cans and eating food out of the trash cans at school. And so the family was questioned, and they decided to pull him out of school. And Children's Services visited the home a couple of times, and each time that they visited, they noted that there was plenty of food in the cupboards and plenty of food in the kitchen and in the fridge, and the house was clean, and that when they questioned the children in the home, the children denied being abused. Well, as an adult, Survivor states that there were like 2 reasons why he always denied being abused. One was he didn't even realize that it was abuse. He thought it was normal. And another being that he was told that if he ever tattled on his dad and his stepmom, that his punishment would be worse. And so by the time he was 12, he did not see anybody from the outside world ever again until he was 32. And during that period of time, he was kept in his upstairs bedroom. He was locked in from bolts and latches on the outside of his bedroom door. He was let out in the early morning to see his dad around breakfast time, and sometimes he was let out in the evening to spend time with his dad once again. And he said that sometimes he could go out and help his dad with yard chores and stuff like that when his stepmom and his stepsisters were not home. But the rest of the time he was kept locked up. The stepmom claims that this was not true, that the stepdad was the one who insisted that this child be treated that way. She said this child had a bad temper and that she was afraid of him, and so that while she on the one hand said the doors were never locked on the outside, she also said that she locked the doors on the outside because she was afraid of him. And then she stated that as an adult, she would leave him alone in the house when she went to work, and that he wasn't locked in. But that's a he said she said thing. But you've got this 32-year-old young man who weighed 68 pounds and was so desperate for freedom that he set his bedroom on fire in an attempt to take his own life so he could be free. But rescuers came, the fire department came, and he was huddled on the floor. I'm a cough, sorry. Whoa. Kiddo bumped the camera and it looked like we had an earthquake. Anyway, he was huddled on the floor, weighing 68 pounds, emaciated, skeletal in size, and curled up like that. The firemen thought that he was rescuing a small child and carried him out. And as he lifted him up, survivor said, "I just wanted to be free. And, I just wanted to escape." And, body cam footage and everything was public on the news, and it looked like a small child was being rescued from this home. The stepmother was seen out on the sidewalk, being all distraught, petting her little toy dog, and saying, "Look at, how much the dog is trembling," and she's worried about the cats that are inside. And she never once mentioned that she had a stepson that was inside the house. And anyway, survivor was rescued, and Kimberly Sullivan, the stepmom, is going on trial, but is kind of being dragged out. There's various things that the defense argues about, and her defense attorney is saying that while he doesn't want to go after survivor, he believes that there are serious credibility problems with survivor, and that that the trial is definitely going to be a he said she said thing, and that so survivor had no education beyond the 4th grade. His teeth were rotted out of his head. He hadn't seen a doctor since he was 12 years old. His hair was matted. He stated that he hadn't bathed in a year or two, and like he was down to 68 pounds, and so that's the physical evidence.
What was his age when he was rescued?
32.
32 years old, 68 pounds.
Yeah, and he actually is full height. He's 5'9" or 5'10", if I recall correctly, and 68 pounds, and he changed his name. He legally changed his name. He's getting help through a victims support service called Safe Haven. And his stepmother's attorney is petitioning the court to force him to make his new name public.
I wonder why.
Stating that his stepmother has the right to know the name of her accuser.
I don't think it's written that way. I think it's written that they have the right to face their accuser in court.
Yeah. So, the judge is going to rule on that later. Of course, the
comments weren't scrolling.
and and another thing that was petitioned was that the stepmother wanted to go back into the home that the two of them had been living in, and she wanted to gather her things. That was granted. The next thing, which is going to get ruled on October 31st, is the stepmother wants to be freed of her GPS bracelet, and survivor was saying that he wanted her to keep that on because he lives in constant fear of her, and he would like to know where she is. So that'll be ruled on the 31st, and I'm not sure whether the 31st or a later date is when it will be determined whether a survivor gets to keep his name from his stepmother or from the public, or or what's going to happen with that. So that's going to be quite the story. But
yes, Karen, it would be nice if he recovers.
I was thinking he was going to recover and go on to be a superhero for anybody else that might be.
Yeah, I think that a perfect ending for this would be for him to recover and become some sort of motivational speaker or an inspiration for other survivors of domestic situations. Sorry.
It'll be okay. Maybe tomorrow night's show you'll make it all the way through.
Yeah. It looks
The
like-
comments, they weren't scrolling, so now we got lots
Okay,
of
I'm
comments in here.
I'm gonna pop off the screen for a second. 'Cause I'm
Sorry about that.
My poor wife
sorry.
got a little cold.
yeah.
Should be better tomorrow. I
Get my
hope.
headscarf off.
Nothing but
Well-
bone.
Yeah, he was just skin and bones.
And early on, the neighborhood kids, they used to see him in the window.
Oh yeah, he even became the
Kind of an urban legend.
the source of an urban legend, where they used to talk and call him the ghost boy, because they would sometimes see a pale boy looking out of the second story window, but then when they would make eye contact with him, when he would see that they saw him, he would pull away and disappear. And as an adult, he stated that that's because he was told by his father and his stepmother to not make contact with anyone outside, and that if he ever caused problems, that would be it for him. And
A lot of comments I was trying to scroll through.
and yeah, the last year that he was ever in school was 4th grade. That's his highest education. And
Welcome to chat, everyone. Thank you to my moderators. You guys are doing a great job keeping those pesky trolls under control.
excellent troll hunting.
We're going to bring on an external microphone, so hopefully you'll be able to hear us a little better.
Look for that in the upcoming week. Homeschool? No.
No, he was not homeschooled. I think that they told the district that he was being homeschooled, but he never was. And then they told people that he had moved to be with relatives and stuff, and everybody just bought it and didn't check into it at all, and just assumed that he didn't live there anymore.
Welcome to our new subscribers. We're happy to have you guys here.
Want to go back through and read the comments? Or do you have something else on deck?
I don't have anything else on deck.
Anybody have a story you want to talk about? We can do a request. A true crime story request, if you like. Thank you, Journey.
Oh, I have new subs tonight. Thank
I
you.
saw some of them pop in there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm gonna start coughing again.
Well, since
we're gonna
since
have to
my
go,
wife is
because
coughing, we're gonna shut it down with a 1 hour live tonight.
and I'll see you guys again tomorrow, and hopefully there'll be less coughing tomorrow. I'm gonna try some lemon tea and maybe some thyme, as in
Thank you everybody for
THYME.
showing up. Thank you moderators. Welcome to our new subscribers. Hope to see you tomorrow or the next day or the day after that. We have other content on the channel that dates way back for 4 years. If you want to check that out. Irish Trail Cam clips. Good night. Thank you for joining us. Good night. Good morning.
Mark Sanchez. I'm gonna write that down so I can
Good
remember that.
afternoon. Irish Trail Cam.
I suspect you could be in Ireland, maybe, just guessing at things.
Whiskey, honey, and lemon.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds like a Leonard Skinner drink,
Mm.
doesn't it? It's way back.
Mm.
Yeah, Yes, definitely. Thank you. That's the end of this show. So, if you guys want to chat amongst yourselves, that'll be fine. We can let it run for a moment.
And I'll try not to cough in your ears.
Yeah, you can tolerate her coughing. You need one of those deer hunters cough thing. You know that what the deer hunters are up in their tree stands or whatever, they make a special device that they cough into, and it's really quiet, and so it doesn't spook the deer. Maybe you don't want to spook your YouTube viewers, and maybe you should have one of those. Maybe they'll sponsor you.
What if I cough into a duck call?
Yeah. Definitely, we're looking for 10K, 10,000
Hey, Jay.
subscribers. So if you want to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell,
Jay?
I'll usually post in the community section. They don't call it the community
Where's
section
Jay?
anymore. He's over there, out of the. He's busy over there.
Hey, Jay, if you feel like whipping out your guitar, now would be a good time.
Sometimes we end the show with a little bit of live guitar.
I love it when he plays guitar for us.
This is a clanker-free channel.
Yeah, he actually plays.
Clanker-free. We use no robots here. These are our real voices, unlike some of these other channels that are surfacing out there using robot voices. I think that's it. We got 13 people in here. Everybody's gone.
Okay.
Everybody's gone. Good night, everybody.
We'll have music tomorrow night.
Good night, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be around the planet.